Hey, how have you been, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to My Hero Academia. This time we're on episode 3 of season 1, titled Roaring Muscles, and episode 2 brought us a side to All Might that is actually a little bit gloomier than the kind of strong and almighty hero that we saw back in episode 1, and this is the version that went through a bit of trauma and a bit of loss in his life and is no longer the same hero that people remember him as. But he lost a fight against like one of the big villains years back and suffered a pretty fatal wound, which then took away a lot of his strength and like a lot of his body's abilities. And then after multiple surgeries, he lost his stomach as well. So now, due to malnutrition and stuff like that, he's now limited to doing any and all hero work to 3 hours a day. So he's very much kind of like, running a risk whenever he actually transforms back into his All Might self, and, his smiles are pretty much saved for those occasions, specifically, but when he's not, he looks like a very, very skinny, long, blonde man, so... Yeah, but he revealed that kind of secret to Izuku on the rooftops, not out of choice exactly, but it happened anyway. And then Izuku learned his secret and realized, All Might is still in there. It's still the same good, good-hearted, compassionate hero, but he's just not, like, physically speaking, he's not the All Might that everyone's gonna remember. All Might himself actually worked to keep that failure and to keep like what happened to him under wraps at all costs, so that the public would actually remember him for like the hero that they always look up to and the hero that they always kind of go bright-eyed for every time he shows up to save the day, and he wants people to remember him as that. So yeah, I think that's I'd like to think that's less of ego at play and more like people, like he wants people to remember him as like the symbol of hope and everything that he actually was. But if and when he dies, then he wouldn't particularly mind, I don't think, the truth being revealed, because when he was alive he still wanted to be able to help people as much as possible, and stuff like that. So yeah, that was that. And then we had Izuku himself taking a leap of courage against the slime monster who had been dropped by All Might in a bottle and then kicked open by Bakugo in an alleyway, and then started wreaking havoc all over again. And Bakugo, he was stubborn as all hell. He was just stubborn in wanting to escape himself and wanting to save himself, wanting to prove himself as the hero to the public and everything. But then Izuku, did I say Izuku earlier or did I say Bakugo? Okay, if I messed up, I meant Bakugo. But Izuku himself actually decided to jump in, like he knew that All Might was still outside of his 3-hour range, so if he transformed again, it would probably be much, much worse for him, and everyone else was waiting for All Might to come and save the day because he was the only one capable of doing so. But then Izuku kind of felt guilty about the whole thing because he's the one who grabbed onto All Might, and then he made him drop the bottle, and then he made him transform, and all of that stuff. So he was feeling guilty, and then through like a sudden rush of adrenaline and courage, he actually leapt into the fray and started tearing like through his bag at the slime monster's eye, and then started tearing at the slime and trying to save Izuku and everything. And then by the end of it, All Might managed to get back some of his power and transformed again, and then threw a thunder punch so hard that he changed the weather. He became Thor, Odin's son, All Might Odin's son, all of a sudden. So he changed the weather with just a single punch, and then transformed back into his anorexic self. Or skinny self, I should say. But yeah, I think Izuku is headed down a much, much stronger path, especially with All Might having told him like he actually can be a hero now, because All Might's actually seen him in action without any powers, just with his knowledge of what superheroes can do and what their moves are, and also with his with his own insertion of courage and bravery in the face of pretty much deadly odds. But yeah, like because of that, All Might did tell him, you can be a superhero. That's what it takes. It's not all about the super strength. It's not all about the speed or anything like that. It's about the actual courage to jump in when no one else does. And I just stabbed myself with my pen, so that's fun. But you know, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to be a superhero. So so Izuku has all of that, and now he just needs to figure out who he is and what he's gonna be. So that is what's coming up in the season, I presume. But yeah, what else? Well, I mean, Bakugo was stubborn as ever. He met up with Izuku just to again, I say Bakugo, and then 2 seconds later, I run it back in my head, and I feel like I said Izuku again. I don't know why. I think it's because their names, like syllable-wise, their names kind of sound similar. But Bakugo ran up to Izuku again, and told him, you know, that he wasn't grateful for it because he didn't need him to save him. He didn't need him around at all. So, you know, still stubborn as ever, but hopefully soon that will change. But yeah. That's it. That's pretty much all I have from the last episode. So we will be potentially seeing Izuku training in some way, or just finding out what he can do and what he can be and all of that stuff. So properly beginning his journey to becoming a hero, a quirkless hero, the first quirkless hero. But I don't know if I know this is the main point of the series, but I don't know if things are going to change up and be like, you know, more people who are quirkless but still want to be heroes are going to come out in the world. But I don't know, I feel like that stuff is a hopeful storyline for a much later time. But yeah, My Hero Academia episode 3, Roaring Muscles. Let's go.
You too can become a hero.
Midoriya, you're kidding, right? Wannabe. You really think they let someone like you in when they could have me?
Sorry, kid, it's not gonna.
Listen to the right words, Izuku. Listen to the right words.
Tell me that. And then the person I admire most in this world did. Honestly, part of me never thought I'd hear those words, much less from him.
I deem you worthy of my power. My quirk is yours to inherit.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, he's gonna transfer his powers? Is that even possible?
Don't worry. I'm not gonna force this thing on you.
Wait, but he can actually do
Listen
that?
well, young man. I wasn't born with this power. It's a sacred torch that was passed on to me from someone else.
Oh,
Gave you this quirk?
damn, so All Might wasn't even the original All Might.
And you're next.
I mean, since the first superpowers, no one's ever been able to just give someone else their power like a present.
Damn, so there's a conspiracy theories about this stuff?
I think everything we know about quirks to be
Sounds like you're overthinking this whole inheriting thing.
Yeah.
Stop nerding out!
Yeah.
Adjust your reality and accept this new truth. The true name of my power is one for all.
One for all.
all.
Yes.
And all for one?
One person improves the power, then hands it off to another person. It continues to grow as it's passed
Yeah,
along.
so one power for all the people it's passed down
It is
to.
this cultivated
Okay,
power
that's
that
cool,
allows me
that's
to
cool.
save those who are in need of a hero. I watched you jump into action as the
Yeah,
rest of us stood idly
yeah.
by. You may just be a
Oh
quirkless
god.
fanboy, but you tried to save that kid. You acted like
This
a
is like
hero.
Erskine choosing Steve for the serum all over again. This is exactly like that.
There's an extra 600 pounds with you sitting on top of it.
Nah, I've lost weight, so I'm down to 560 these days.
Yeah, but you've transformed though, you're basically just a massive lump of muscle.
Right, much better.
Wait, so he has to do it without his powers first and then use his powers?
Turns out this part of the beach used to be beautiful, but it's been a total mess for the last few years.
He wants it cleaned up.
That's
He wants
right.
it cleaned up.
Because of the ocean currents, anything that's dropped in the water ends up here. People take advantage of that when they're illegally dumping their trash. Now all the locals avoid this place.
So training Izuku and helping the environment. All Might is a great guy. All Might is a great guy.
Service.
Don't just save the people, save the world.
But there's
That's
so
what being a
much.
hero means.
It's impossible.
Young Midoriya.
I have to work way harder than anyone
Or
else. to
having
get
no
in.
friends, I guess.
So what choice do I have,
Socialists, so
right?
like socializing is taken out of the schedule.
That,
Saves a lot of
10
time.
months of absolute. I'm using different muscle groups depending on the size and shape of the trash I'm hauling.
Let's go.
That's
let's
smart.
go.
Good
The
strategy.
clock is ticking and 10 months will be over before you.
Yeah.
Don't you give up. It's
Got some
time
muscle
to go
training, got the
beyond.
cardio running with the wheels.
With the appearance of
I can get in around 5 hours every morning and night, so that's 490 hours. Also, I'll need to make sure I'm hitting every muscle.
Damn. Everyone's just shocked at his math.
Start sneaking in extra workouts and lifting weights.
Or maths, since from the UK,
Yeah,
but
that would help me focus
yeah.
my workouts and isolate specific muscles.
damn.
Lots of it. I'll have to cut back
Yeah,
on
you
the
might want to
hours
keep
of
this stuff on the down low, Izuku. You might want to keep it on the.
catch up a little bit more. Excellent.
Hey, Midoriya.
Oof.
I know you had a run-in with a villain.
Yeah. Oh jeez. Oh Jesus. Ugh. He is pouring in blood, sweat, and tears and vomit. 10 months. You got this. Yeah, that would look very wrong to anyone who couldn't sit on the table. That would look very wrong. He just got his arm on the table to say, ugh, ugh. Oh, Jesus.
It was fine-tuned to ensure your progress was swift but manageable. Which means you haven't been sticking to it. Doing things. That's gonna have the opposite effect of what we want.
Yeah.
To work harder.
Yeah, he's trying to put more and more in so that he gets there quicker, but that's not how it works, Izuku.
I don't just want into UA. I want to excel. I want to be like you.
You can't be like All Might if you're dead. Wait, what?
Hey, holy crap, kid. You even cleaned
Whoa.
up outside the area I told you to.
Damn.
Seriously, there's not one speck of trash left on this beach.
He really cleaned up.
Only a few minutes to spare.
Oh, geez, is he going down? Oh, he's going down. But All Might saves him, Superman style. He saves him.
It's you.
And then and now. Before and after.
Look how far you've come.
Yeah?
Such
Yo,
improvement.
damn, he's ripped.
There's still a long road ahead of you before you... This gift, you earned it with your own valiant efforts.
Is that his power in one hair strand? It's happening! It's happening! Wait,
To
what?
inherit my power, you've got to swallow some of my DNA. That's how it works.
This isn't exactly how I imagined it.
Come on,
He has to
it's
swallow his hair?
late for the exam. Eat, eat, eat.
He has to swallow All Might's hair? He has to eat it? What kind of power consumption is that?
Kachan's been taking it easier on me.
Really? I mean,
Guess
that's
I was
good,
just scared out
but
of
still, I mean, you just threatened to set you on fire. I don't really know how that's
But
easier.
I'm not defenseless anymore.
Ah,
Are you
saved.
okay?
Saved by the girl. Oh, is he? He was
stopped
floating?
at work. I'm sorry I didn't ask first.
Ah.
But I figured you wouldn't mind me catching you. Well, guess I'll see you inside. Bye.
Oh, he's all flustered.
Holy whoa, I just talked to a girl!
Yeah, you did. Oh, God.
I listen to his radio show every day of the week. It's so crazy.
Is he
how
sat
all
next
the
to
UA
Bakugo? Why?
Like your application said, today you rockin' boys and girls will be out there conducting TOONAMI mock battles in super hip urban settings!
Damn, I was really looking forward to crushing you.
Okay, let's check out your targets. There are 3 types
If there is
of
any
ability
character development for
battle
Bakugo,
settings.
I am sure as hell looking forward to it because right now I want to punch him in the face.
You've been muttering this entire time. Stop that. If you can't
Nah.
bother to take this seriously, leave. You're distracting the rest of us.
Well, he's processing his thoughts out loud. What's wrong with that?
All right.
Jeez, what is it with everyone
Number
calling out
71111.
Izuku for his own
Thanks
tendencies?
for calling in with your request.
Jeez.
A true hero is one who overcomes life's misfortunes. Now that's a tasty soundbite.
Izuku has definitely done that. He has definitely done that.
Let's hear a plus ultra.
Plus Ultra.
Good luck.
Battle Center B. So that's what they actually have to fight, like physically fight
This is it.
villains.
Time to put 10 months of
Damn.
training with All Might to the test.
So it's almost like
Give it
a
my all.
Triwizard tournament or something.
I will become a hero. Just
Except
like
you
I
don't
always
actually
dreamed.
die in this.
I won't
Well,
let
I
myself
presume
down.
you don't. And that is the end of that episode. Okay. That was very, very good. That was very, very, like, nice to see. And they're taking this stuff one step at a time, which I actually like. Like, they're not really rushing you too much into, like, the whole Izuku becoming a hero thing, because this is a very, very sensitive process for him to go through, and this is a very, very sensitive topic for him to touch on. So them, like, you know, them taking their time with this in order to actually properly portray how important it is for him and how, like, thorough, like how, you know, how impactful this is all going to be for him as well. It's very nicely done so far. Like going from explaining who he is and what he is and why he isn't like everyone else, but then why that makes him special, and then, you know, what he wants to be, and, you know, how he's facing all of these unsurmountable odds and all the stuff he's going through, and in the end he still gets an opportunity, because he's always held out hope. He's always tried to find a way to become what he wasn't born as. So, you know, he's always trying to find a way to become who he wants to be and what he wants to be, in spite of everyone telling him no and it's impossible and you'll never do it and all that stuff. Like, that alone is a really, like, positive message to them, like, a really positive message that the writers are, like, sending. Like, you know, in spite of everyone telling you you can't be something or that you can't do something, you can do it so long as you set your mind to it and you just don't give up. Like, don't listen to what others are saying, focus on yourself and focus on what you want to do, and you will eventually get there. But yeah, so All Might's powers are not originally his. He's not a natural born hero. His powers are inherited from person to person down the history and down the line of people with quirks. And his quirk has no, like his true quirk. I mean, did he mention it? I don't know. I think I'm gonna go back and listen to that scene again. I don't know if he actually mentioned what his quirk is. He just said, like, whenever he's asked in interviews, he just always dodges the question. So I'm gonna go back and see that again. Yeah, okay. So one for all is the true name of his quirk. That's the real name of it. But what his quirk is in terms of actual, like, characteristics and properties, I think it's maybe not exclusive to one thing. Like, you know, super strength is the most obvious thing that we've seen, the most common one, like him actually bulking up to that, like Superman-ish size, and then, you know, using his one punch to actually, you know, change, like to destroy his enemies and even change the weather. But one for all is the actual name of his quirk, so that's one power for all of the heroes that have actually inherited the power. So one power, like, passed down that whole kind of family tree, if you will, of All Mights. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's like that is definitely a concept I didn't see. I definitely didn't see coming. Like, which, you know, I think that, I mean, that definitely rules out, like, well, for the most part, it rules out the powers. Like, it rules out the you know, like, for the most part, it rules out the concept of the wrong people getting powers, because, you know, as All Might said, like, you know, he didn't really think that Izuku was actually capable of or worthy of the powers, but then after seeing him jump into action against the slime guy to save Bakugo, he realizes there's more to this kid than meets the eye. Like, you see him, you just see a scrawny little kid who loves superheroes, but in the end, he is actually willing to do the right thing no matter what it costs and no matter what it takes, and that's what's required in a hero. Someone who knows what the costs are, someone who knows that they might lose their life, but they get the job done anyway. So that's especially what he was looking for in Izuku. But I mean, I say for the most part, because I feel like there could still be some cases where off the bat, you know, right up until a person inherits the powers, they could seem worthy, but then afterwards they get a taste of the power, and then, you know, maybe that's when they go bad. So maybe that's when they get all power hungry and they abuse the power. So it's like, especially if it's someone like Izuku, like a victim of bullying, and then they are capable of doing the right thing. They are very much so, and they prove that to whoever is the current All Might, and then they show them that, and then they actually inherit the powers, and then they get a taste of that power, like, oh, I can punch people into the sun and, you know, just flick them across the world with my pinky or something like that. Like, they get a taste of that, and then they realize everything they can do, and they, you know, they go out to get revenge on all the people who wronged them. That kind of stuff, I feel like it can still happen. I feel like it can still happen. But yeah, but for the most part, it is a much more, like, it is a much safer and much more accurate process, and actually making sure the right people get the powers. And Izuku himself, like I mean, he's definitely someone who's very, very broken, and, you know, like, very, 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 like who has low self-esteem because of, like, all the bullying he's endured and all the no's he's been given all his life. But in no way has he projected that onto anyone else. He's no way turned into a bully on other people. If anything, he's bottled all of that up and internalized it and just told himself what other people are telling him and tried to fight back against it. So, you know, in any case, he is worthy. He is definitely worthy of these powers. But yeah, that is very cool to know. So one for all is his quirk, one power for all of the All Mights, and now Izuku is set to become the next one. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. There was a parallel that I definitely noticed of like a Dr. Erskine and Steve Rogers kind of parallel with this, in the sense that, you know, with Dr. Erskine, he was focused on finding the right person for the serum. Sure, any person in the army could have taken it, and even Colonel Phillips said, you know, like one of the other guys was a good soldier, he follows orders, but Erskine was looking for qualities beyond the physical, as he very much said. And, you know, he like his one of his most notable words to Steve was, you know, like, no matter what happens, you have to stay exactly who you are. Like you have to remain, like, the best version of yourself that you can be. Like, not just the best possible soldier, but a good man, someone who's true to their heart. And, you know, like, he saw all of that beyond the scrawny little kid from Brooklyn that everyone else saw. Someone who couldn't really, like, someone who definitely wasn't physically gifted, but he had the heart, he had the courage. You know, he definitely had that kind of, like, motivation and that kind of enthusiasm to stand up when no one else would, against death-defying, deadly odds. So, you know, like, that's exactly what what All Might was looking for as well, and he found it in Izuku. He found it that day when Izuku went up against the slime monsters to save Bakugo. So yeah, that parallel was definitely really, really nice to notice. I don't know if many other people actually caught onto that, but me, just being that kind of a fan as well, like, I just kind of caught onto that. But yeah, so they came up with a training schedule as well, because there is a lot of physical strength required to harness the power, and I think that does make some sense, because, going from, like, a very, very scrawny and physically incapable body to, like, a massive, like, bulk of muscle and all of that stuff, it doesn't sound like something like just anyone can handle. So, you know, it makes sense that he would have to bulk him up, and it very much seems like that, like one of the higher powers and one of the almighty powers, like, no pun intended, but it seems like one of the almighty powers, in the sense that, you know, you need to be able to actually make sure you can handle it, because if stuff goes wrong, he even said, like, you know, if you try and, like, transform in this current state, then your arms are gonna go flying off your body's probably gonna just disintegrate or some shit. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So they came up with a training schedule for him to have to clear out the beach as well. And hey, that's another side to All Might. So, you know, clearing up the beach. So he's, you know, like don't just save the people on the world, save the world itself. So actually clearing up the beach and clearing up that kind of environment and keeping it fresh and clean and tidy for everyone to enjoy as well, and also helping to build up that muscle. So that was a good move. That was a good move on All Might's side. But he did also come up with a nice training schedule for Izuku to actually follow, which also managed to fit in. Izuku himself had to manage to fit in some time to actually study for his UA exam, so that he could actually get into the Superhero Academy. But But yeah, the only problem was Izuku was overworking, because I think even in terms of actual just general working out, like even I did it as like at one point, like when I first started when I first tried to start working out, like I just went all out for like a full hour, to the point where like my arms just felt like numb, and like my whole body was aching. But you know, it's like Izuku, he thought by putting in more work than required, he'd be like, yeah, sure, I'm putting in more work, which means I'm getting there faster. Not how it works, especially to the untrained body. Not how it works at all. Like, you know, like your body isn't any like used to that kind of stress unless you introduce yourself to it slowly. Like you know, if you've never worked down your life and then you start to lift like 10 kg like for a full hour, your arm will die. Like it will die. You know, with Izuku, I think he had to focus on actually get like I think. For part of it was probably impatience as well. Like he wanted to get there as quickly as possible so that he could actually do All Might proud and inherit his powers. But he would like he was a little too willing to put in the work. Like he thought, you know, by putting in more work, he'd be getting there faster. But he didn't realize the stress he was putting on his body. So, you know, I think that's also a very accurate thing as well for someone like getting into that for the first time, who knows little about how working out actually works and how that kind of thing like is properly done. Like someone can very easily just think that, you know, oh, if I just, you know, do this much, like start off big so that you can actually get used to the big stuff later, like they can easily think that and then just wear themselves out very quickly and just be discouraged from doing it again. But no, starting small and then working your way up is the answer. So glad that Izuku figured that out, and well, All Might actually taught him that sooner rather than later. But yeah, seeing him pass out, I figured, you know, oh, he's probably just really tired from all of that stuff. But then, oh, it's because he's actually overworking. He's working more than he actually needs to. Because I think when All Might was saying that, like, oh, you know, we built a training regimen, you know, fit for your body, something designed to suit you. And I thought, you know what, like at first I was thinking, like, you know, maybe you drew a little bit too much from your own experiences. Like maybe you know, like you thought like maybe what's best for you is also best for him. And then when he pointed out, so that means you're overworking, I was like, oh, that actually makes a lot more sense. And knowing Izuku as well, like how impatient he is to get all this stuff done and to be the next All Might, it makes a lot more sense. So I'm glad he moved past that side, that point as well. But yeah, so the UA stuff, so that is the actual entrance exam for the academy. So you actually have to go in there and actually I mean, I assume it's I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a simulation of some sort, but you actually have to go in there and fight 4 different types of villains, and actually build yourself up and all that stuff. So I assume it's safe. I assume it is a simulation of some kind, and like the villains that can't actually hurt you that bad, or at least there's some kind of insurance policy on this exam. But yeah, I mean, I assume it is a simulation of some sort that just records your fighting ability. But what also kind of like confuses me is the fact that surely people at the school know, like, I mean, like there are people from Izuku's school, including Bakugo, who are going to the exam. So surely those people know that like Izuku doesn't actually have a quirk. Like, can you still take part in the exam even if you don't have a quirk? Because like the school is like the academy itself is for people who have quirks and want to train to become heroes. So if you want to go in, like if you want to like do the entrance exam, surely you have to have a quirk to actually effectively fight. Or I mean, or maybe like there are people without quirks that can still fight without them and they're allowed in. I don't know, because I mean, I'm assuming this is like a test initially for quirks and to see how well you work with your quirk and to see if you're actually worthy of a spot in the academy. So you'd have to have a quirk for that. But those guys don't know he has any contact with All Might at all. They don't know that he swallowed a piece of All Might's hair, which I will be getting to in a minute. But yeah, they don't know any of that stuff about him. So like for all they know, he could be going in just to get himself killed. But I don't know. It seems weird. I think maybe they did mention something. Maybe they just don't really care. Maybe they think, oh, maybe if he gets his ass kicked by these guys, then you know he'll finally learn once and for all, or something like that. But yeah, that's something that kind of caught my eye off. Like, you know, he should have a quirk. Surely you guys should be questioning that. But again, maybe nobody else really cares. Except for Bakugo, though. Bakugo, I mean, he said Bakugo was going easier on him since the whole slime monster thing. So, I mean, he threatened to set him on fire. But I guess that's like typical Bakugo anyway. Like he's always threatening to maim or kill Izuku in some way. But he does seem a lot quieter though. He does seem a lot more isolated and a lot more kind of like deep into his angry thoughts and stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, again, I have heard and seen it, like not really seen, but I have heard that like Bakugo is a fan favorite now at this point. So I'm assuming he does go through some sort of development. I'm hoping maybe some Steve Harrington style development in the series, which I'm super looking forward to. But we'll see. We'll see exactly what kind of development he's up against. But yeah, the hair. So he has to swallow a strand of All Might's hair in order to possess the powers. I mean, there's a bunch of weird stuff in this show. There's a bunch of outside the box weird stuff in this show, but that might just be the weirdest. Like, swallowing a piece of his DNA is what gives you the powers. Like, I was thinking like maybe some like summoning some lightning from the skies and then passing that down into like Izuku, or maybe just like one finger tap against the forehead and that power just transfers into him. But no, you just pluck out a strand of your hair and just give it to Izuku. So damn. Okay, so that definitely happened. I mean, hey, if that's the only way, then I guess that's the only way. But that's definitely a new way I've heard of transferring powers. Like usually, like from what I've seen, is usually just like holding the hands, or just skin on skin contact, or just, you know, some kind of like incantation that passes it down. But hey, now you can do it by eating another person's DNA as well. So that's fun. But yeah, I mean, that can't be comfortable either at all. Like, you know, just like, you know, like having hair in your mouth, like it's an uncomfortable feeling. You can tell that something's in your mouth, but then having to actually swallow that and eat that, like that cannot be comfortable, like, at all. But he did say he swallowed it, but he didn't really feel anything too like different coming through. So I don't know, maybe it's gonna take time to kick in. But he got ripped. He got freaking well ripped, moving all that trash aside and actually clearing up the beach as a whole. So he definitely proved himself worthy. He's willing to keep the environment clean to work himself up, and we're willing to keep the world and the people that live on it safe. So he's definitely worthy of the powers. Yeah, so next time we will presumably be seeing Izuku taking on the entrance exam and fighting his way through villains to earn his spot, and also presumably, you know, understanding how his powers work as well. I mean, he's already pretty bulked up, so I don't know if we'll see him bulking up beyond that, or if we're going to see him bulking up at all. But I don't know, I'm so used to seeing him the way he is now, and then seeing him like transformed into this big bulky figure. I don't know, I kind of have to see that to believe it, or to actually get like an accurate image of what that would be. But we'll see. But I mean, he did say his quirk wasn't exclusive. Like his quirk wasn't really super strength or anything like that, or like it wasn't exclusively super strength. Like his quirk, like the name of his quirk was one for all. So it's one power for like, or like one quirk for all the people who actually inherit it. So it's like you know, it's, what's the word? Like inheritable, I know, but like, I don't know, there's another word I'm thinking of, but I can't really it's not coming to mind. But it is passed downable. That's the best I can come up with right now. Okay, that's the best I can come up with. It's passed downable. But yeah, that is a pretty cool kind of concept. Like he like, even All Might isn't the original hero, or like a natural born hero. He had his powers given to him by someone else. But the quirks themselves, I don't know if they change from person to person as well. So like for the All Might we see now, like his one, like the quirk he was given was, like the powers he was given were super strength and speed and punching and all that stuff. But that's not what the quirk is. The quirk is whatever allows him to deliver justice and to keep the people of the world safe. So maybe camera died, and to restart, well, it didn't die, it ran out of space, so I had to restart this thing, and now I've lost my point. Where was I? Like, yeah, the physical strength thing, I think, to harness the power, I think that makes sense. Don't even know if that's actually where I was, but it's the last thing I remember. But yeah, I think that does make sense because, yeah, like if you are bulking up to that size, you need a good starting point. Like you need like a good starting point to begin with at first. Like you like it wouldn't really be too possible to go from like super skinny to super buff and everything. Like in All Might's case, like there was a time when he had a better physique, but then that battle he lost, he took a huge hit and lost almost everything, and then he had surgeries to try and fix it, and then he lost even more. So now he's just struggling to get by, and you know, all these years he's been looking for a successor, but up until Midoriya, no one's really come by. So now he has found the right person, and I think I'd like to think there is some kind of, I think the mental thing, like the mental capability could just be that, like the mindset you have with the powers. I don't really think it's as much to do with actually like focusing when you're using the powers, but more like, you know, the mindset you have when you have the powers. Like, you know, don't abuse the powers, don't eat away at what the powers grant you. Like, be grateful for the powers and use them for the right reasons, and be the hero that the world needs you to be, and be the symbol of hope and everything. Like that kind of mental capability, as opposed to being like, you know, oh, you have powers now, so you can, you know, you can just, you know, punch up anyone who pisses you off, or, you know, exact revenge on all the people who picked on you all those years ago. So Midoriya isn't going to be anything like that. He just wants to be a hero. He wants to help people. He wants to be like All Might, and now he does have that opportunity. So it is going to be very fun watching him from here on out, seeing how he actually adapts to the powers now, and how he evolves with them, and how he changes, and all that stuff, and seeing how the people around him and the world around him changes as well. So looking forward to seeing him getting accepted and enrolled into the UA, into the academy. So yeah, that is pretty much all I have from this episode. So that was My Hero Academia Season 1, Episode 3, titled Roaring Muscles. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode, and what you think is coming up next for Izuku, and how you think he's going to be adapting to All Might's quirk. And yeah, that's it. So I will see you guys next time.